Hey, good afternoon everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to make gluten-free waffles. For this, I've made my own gluten-free flour and the gluten-free baking powder. I'll show those recipes in another time, but today I just want to stick to the waffles. Before you begin, make sure that you measure the milk and leave that at room temperature. And if, for whatever reason you forgot, bring the eggs out to room temperature as well. And if you haven't, what you can do is just put some cold water in a bowl, and this will bring them to the right temperature fairly quickly. Then get your dry ingredients ready. I have a dedicated container for this for two reasons. First of all, when you're making gluten-free stuff, you never want cross-contamination because any amount of gluten can cause severe reactions, so it's important you have your own containers. Now, another reason I leave it in a Ziploc, and you won't see it, I'm not doing this on purpose, but it tends to get very powdery. So you want to be careful when you're mixing so you don't get this huge cloud of powder. And because it's waffles, this is not a super precise recipe. Let me just bring the bowl over. Now you're going to see what happens when I drop this in. Okay, you see the kind of smoke that's coming off. You don't want to be breathing that in. And I did give this a brief shake, but I'm going to show you a couple of fast techniques if you're not used to this that you should probably do. Definitely whisk it now to make sure that it didn't settle. And if this is a new batch, I've got a sieve here so you can see. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but just so you get some kind of idea that you want to make sure that the components of the flour are really well mixed together. And as I said, try not to breathe it in. I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. Now the baking powder, I do not sieve it because there's not that much. I just keep it in a large Ziploc, and if you turn it over a few times, I am fortunate that I have a 1.5 teaspoon measure on my measuring spoons. What is a pinch of salt? There's always that question. Basically, it's as much as you can get between thumb and finger, which usually works out to about 1/4 teaspoon if you actually want to measure it. So I'm going to mix in the dry stuff, and I think I will sieve this just a little. Set that aside for the time being. Now I've got the wet ingredients. If they're too dry, add some more milk. If they're too wet, either cut down a bit on the milk or use large eggs instead of extra large. I always like to buy extra large eggs because you get more. I use peanut oil because I find it improves the flavor. If you are allergic to peanuts, use whatever oil you don't have a problem with. But if you're not going to use peanut oil, do use something that's got a neutral flavor. Just whisk all that up together. I'm just lifting that up so you can see it. This particular model has an orange and a green light. When the green light turns on, that means it's hot. So keep it close until you're ready to use it, so you don't want it to, because it will start going through a heat up, cool down. So only add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients when you start ready to cook. This is really important. Okay, so just dump all this in at once, the wet stuff. Now you want to tap the whisk down gently as you mix, because if you just whisk it as usual, you are going to get a mass the size of a lacrosse ball right in the middle of the whisk that is possible to get out, but takes a while. Now a lot of recipes go simply mix till it's moist or whatever. If you got lumps, no worries. I personally have found I get better results with this if I mix it thoroughly, because the stuff dissolves really quick. And also you got to remember that once you start making these, very important habit to get into if you want these to come out properly is you mix or stir the batter between waffles. If you don't do this, yeah, because the dry ingredients tend to settle in the bottom. All right. I've tried many different ways to do this. I did experiment several times before I decided to shoot this. I wanted to make sure everything was just right. Okay, so I got a cup, wipe the bottom off. And that's what I said. Every waffle maker is different, so there's no set volume. What you are going to do is you are going to pour till it's full. And I'll show you what I mean. That's nearly full. That one is full. I am not going to overpour, because if you overpour, it makes a huge mess. And yes, you can clean it out, but the waffle comes out funny. And you don't want to waste any of these. Okay, so this little one over here, I'm going to give just a touch up slightly. If it starts to cover the squares, you're like right on the edge, and don't do more than that. Now, unfortunately, see, these wobble, and it's a fairly thin batter, so be careful when you close it, and then just turn it over and set your timer. See, you notice the green light went off right away. And the timer for me, where I am, is 8 minutes. Timer just went off. Let's take a look and see what we got. All right, you got to flip this back first before it'll open. It's got a safety switch on. Okay, so the first one is always a little underdone. But then again, you know what? You can freeze these, and if you are going to have them for supper, breakfast, or whatnot, yeah, they go quite nicely in the oven on warm, or actually 225 for a few minutes. Just heats them right up. Warm is not enough. I've yet to meet a toaster that can handle these, but the microwave works too. So, and this has settled in the meantime, so I'm going to give that a good stir. I was dipping the cup in and wiping the bottom off because I like the, can't go wrong approach, but if you've got some practice and you're comfortable with doing this, don't pour in too much at once, because if you do, then you're going to have to get in here between waffles, unless you want to do that instead. See, this is crooked right out the door. You see what I mean? Yeah, this is this thing is old and beat up. Maybe I'll even get a new one. A square one, and see if I can do them in the toaster or something. That one is nearly a little overfilled. And yes, when you put it in, don't forget to set the timer every time, because try to estimate the cooking time visually is pretty difficult. So I got a fork for this one so you can see that it is doable if you don't have tongs. I did one in the meantime. Oh yeah, that's a good one to show you. That could be because it tilted. Now listen to this when they come off like that. You can hear the fork going in. Yeah, so if the waffle iron tilts or they're not full completely, what will happen is they'll separate. Now I'll let one of these cool off slightly. Oh, there's a cool one in the bottom. Yeah. My friend actually was really excited when I made these, because apparently a lot of gluten-free stuff is kind of lame and gooey and whatever. And I didn't know that, and these do this. Okay? I don't know if you heard that. That's a really good crunch. Yeah, they're slightly underdone, but they heat up really well in the microwave and the oven. And they're so tasty, you do not even need to put butter or syrup on them, though. I mean, hey, knock yourself out if you want to. Yeah, you want to be quick about this. I probably should have closed this between. I'll try that next time and see if it comes out different. But you definitely want to, actually, you know what, I think I am going to show you. I'm going to overfill this a little. I mean, I do make mistakes sometimes on purpose, just so you can see So you can see what you should not be doing, okay? So let's see if this makes a horrible mess. Oh, there's the waffle iron getting gassy. Yeah, you can see it's coming out the side too. And there's all kinds of steam coming out the back. So yeah, just overfilling it a little can cause this. And I guess that's what that tray underneath here is for. Now the overfilled ones are going to come out the side, obviously here. And depending on the condition of your waffle iron, may stick, and in this case are slightly underdone because there was too much filling in here. But this one stayed in one piece, which the other ones did not. So, I mean, again, it's always a trade-off of how you like it. Okay, that's good that I got called away for a second. This cooked for about an extra minute, and you can see how much more cooked it is compared to the other ones. So you can adjust your cooking time. I'm gonna eat that one. Not right now, but yeah, and I think we've got one more left, and we're done. Okay, so that's the last one. I didn't really time it that much. My phone kept going off. Yeah. All right, it's not too burnt. They're okay. So you can get a mix and match. Just kind of break these up. So there you have it, gluten-free waffles. When you see how many you get, for what? 2 cups of flour, couple cups of milk, a couple eggs, yeah, it's worth it. It is definitely worth it. Thanks for watching.